felt like it was very dimly lighted, right? But when we were in darkness and a little bit of light feels like bright light. See how our experience of this world is relative? This is like going on at all times. It's all time. It's like that. We don't even notice it. It's like that all the time. So, anyways, I picked a theme. I've been trying hard to pick themes that are life lessons for me that I can share with you, and struggles for me that I have very painstakingly resolved by depending on the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these ancient texts. So the theme that I picked was time, the silent hunter. And I'll share with you what happened. I was reading about time is often referred to as a serpent, the serpent of time. Maybe you've heard about it in different traditions and cultures, often shown as a serpent. Anyways, so reading about time, and the reason is, some things about a serpent, it's got a very strong grip. Like if it's a python, it's got you in its grip, you're not escaping that one, right? Or it could be very deadly. You get one bite of a cobra, you're finished, right? Like in the snakes that you can spit venom at you from a distance and you're finished if a drop of it gets on you. That very venomous, very tight, very creepy crawly, you just don't even know they're there around you. It's like that. And so I woke up and I see I'm struggling. The first thing you do is turn your devices off, right? So I'm struggling to go up to my power cord. And there it is, this long, thin, creepy, crawly, long thing, It's my power cord. I was like, this is it! All my time goes into that little cable there. Anyway, I stuck the power cord. It was a big realization. I was like, oh my God, that's the serpent that's grabbing me. Maybe you don't see it like that, but it really hit me hard. I was like, wow. That's how time crawls up on you. You don't see it. You just think, I'm picking a wire and I'm plugging it into my laptop. But that laptop's going to make me work for 8 hours non-stop, maybe more, right? And then after that it's done, it's going to feed you entertainment. It's just like the whole life is being sucked by that creepy crawly thing. It's very venomous. Gets all your energy, takes all your life out, right? Just like that. And it's very powerful. Hard to get out of the grip of it. It takes a very rare person can be like, I have nothing to do with all this. I'm going to stay away from it. We need more people like that to set an example. Maybe there are some in this room someday. But it's a very profound point that when I was little, my mom would say, okay, when you're just focus on your grade 10, your high school exams, and then after that you'll be free, right? Exams are free and you'll be free. But then came high school, like grade 12. She said, oh, focus on this and then you'll be free. I was like, okay, I'll listen to her. When I got into engineering school, it's like, focus on this and then you'll be free. I was like, okay, 4 years, I'll do that, and then I'll be free because everything will be done and you'll be free. Then came grad school, focus on this and then you'll be free. I was like, okay, no more studies after grad school, right? Then came work and I realized I was free the whole time. And now this is called real slavery. Anyways, I'm joking, but you just think that it's just around the corner, just around the corner, just around the corner. And sometimes that feeling piles up, just like wanting time, just to do what you want to do, and it's not there. And I can find myself like be hopeful. I'm really hopeful that I'm going to get all these things that I want to do done, and then just dive into hopelessness that there's no time for anything that I want to do. I just have to get what I have to get done. So this, like left right between hopefulness and hopelessness can be very frustrating. It can be a very frustrating feeling. And I remember when I was in my early 30s, I was thinking, this is just, when will I, like as soon as the needle hit 30, I was like, when will I do what I really want to do? It's downhill from now, so I better do something about it. Like, when will I live my dreams? So I said, okay, I'll just, change my lifestyle. I'll just completely change it. I won't get into this whole corporate thing, and I'll just focus fully on my spiritual development. I was already doing that, but like I'll do that. But then, you know, the reality of the bills pile up, and you gotta pay the bills. It's just like the back and forth. There's a back and forth. So you struggle, you try, you're sincere, but the battle is real. The battle is real. It's not like, because what happens is, it's not that I eat less or more before, while I'm working and while I'm not working. It's just that you go through these waves of satisfaction, dissatisfaction. I'm feeling that I'm missing out. I'm feeling that I've got it. I'm feeling that I'm missing out. I got it. I'm missing out. Got it. Do you find yourself like tossed around by these feelings of inadequacies and then hopefulness? Then inadequacies, then hopefulness. Does anyone go through that? I'm daring to bare my heart. Maybe anybody else can relate to. You relate to what do you relate to? Like what's relatable in this?
I mean, just the constant, just things happening all the time. Like you feel like you're doing good, and then something just comes and hits you, and it's like, oh,
right.
You know, it's like, you know, but it's just always constant. You know, something's always just happening. Something's always just like either messing up or something, whether it's like externally or maybe a weird thought comes up.
Your weird thought, like a thought can ruin your life, right?
Yeah.
One weird thought can ruin your life, isn't it? It's amazing. That's a good one. You said a thought comes up. It's an inception. A thought comes up and anybody else? Anything else? Thank you for sharing that, James. Anybody else?
I guess just like the will, having the will to do something versus not doing it. It's like, yeah, I can go for a walk for an hour, but why would I do that? When I can watch a movie for an hour.
Right. About people going on a walk.
Exactly. I want to walk with them maybe.
Right. Yeah, I was saying this to someone, you or someone I was saying this to, I was like, we're missing out on our dreams because we're busy watching other people fulfill their dreams on Netflix. It's so true. We're missing out on it because it's just like, because it feels like you're that person. You relate. She got the one she loved. It feels like you got it. The illusion so powerful. And coming back to it, like the struggle for time, the ups and downs, you can all relate to it, right? And then in midst of all this, you know what really ruins it, which actually really kills it? It's a mantra out there. If something is important, you make time for it. How do they say it? What's the way they say it? There's never time for something, you just make time. Great mantra. Sounds fantastic, right? You just make time. But what does it actually do? Without knowing how to make time, what happens? It just throws you deeper and deeper into a cycle, into a pit of feeling inadequate and guilty that, oh, I'm not able to make time. Unless, I mean, logically speaking, just analyze this mantra completely. Like, you just make time. How do you make time? Unless you're rich and you can throw some money at it and hire somebody, technically speaking, how do you make time? You can't make time. You can't, you're thinking you're making time, but how do you make time? You can't. And it just makes you feel more and more and more worthless, inadequate. Look, I just can't make time. So this is what happens when we take our knowledge and life mantras from popular sayings. They're not backed up with shastra. It's not real knowledge. What's passing around is real knowledge or just axioms, something said it. Do what feels right to you. It's not a mantra. It's actually a perfect mantra for disaster in your life. But it's popular. So when we start building our lives around these so-called sayings, which are not time-tested, which are not actually scriptural, you know, we just kind of cause so much disturbance in our life. You make time. Where does it say that you can make time? You need to, like, we need a different strategy. Otherwise, we're just left begging for, oh yeah, if I, instead of driving this way, if I drive that way, I'll save 15 minutes. See, I made time. We're really making time. We're like begging for these little pieces, right? Generally, our negotiations are like, oh, I didn't do this, I did this and this at the same time, so I saved myself. Actually, scientists will tell you, they've done detailed studies. There's no such thing as multitasking. Actually, you spend twice as much if you try to multitask on something. You find it shocking, but this is scientifically proved that you actually spend. Huh?
This is true.
Because what you do is you think you're doing two things simultaneously, but actually you're starting and stopping, starting and stopping. So you actually end up. This is like detailed studied on the top universities that use. So where does this idea that you just make time come from? Time's actually just really, pulling at you. It's really pulling. It's actually time is what shapes everything in this world. And an intelligent person will think that instead of negotiating for like 15 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, 1 hour saved, we're living our life on 2-week vacations. We work, like, look at us as a society, as a human society. We've decided that we're going to work 365 minus 2 weeks. And 2 weeks we'll live our life, everything we want to do in 2 weeks. And like, so out of the 7 days, if you want to see it, only 2 days we'll live our life, 5 days we'll write it off. It's a contract we have all signed up for. What we're getting in return, I don't know. But we've all signed up for this kind of a thing, and we're in this system. Here's the thing, it's when fighting a battle, you have to know yourself, you need to know who you are, you have to know what your resources are, but you also have to know the enemy. Now it doesn't mean that, okay, if you understand the problem, your solution is that quit it all and just disappear. But if you want a real solution, you have to understand the problem. Like, part of trauma that I've learned from my own life is to face it, stop running from it. If you keep running from it, it will keep chasing you. You'll never leave you alone. So like you said in the beginning, you said like, I'm going to stop it. You said something like stop and face something. You said you were talking about something. You mentioned something, right? You said, yeah, but I forgot to, but I remember you said that, right? So we want to stay and face it. That's what I decided. I was like, I'm sick and tired of this constant sense of panic and hopefulness. And panic, it's like I'm putting myself through the shock. Okay, now I'm ready. I'll do more. I'll have more time. And then I just electric charge myself. Okay, I'm gonna do. And then I'm hit with the same reality. There's no time. Then you come crashing down. Then I put myself through it again. It's like self-inflicted. Can you see this in your own life? You're like treating yourself so badly. That's why I said the hunter, time, the silent hunter. It's like, do it, you can do it. Just make time for it. Okay, we'll do it. And then what happens? There is no time. So I decided to face my trauma. I decided to face this chronic lack of time. This is called burnout. Burnout. This is why people today, you'll see people in their 20s are having heart attacks. Even teenagers commit suicide. You would think, like, I know when I was a little teenager, I didn't know anything about depression or anything like that. Like, life was so carefree. Even today's children are living such challenging times. They're living such challenging times, and who knows what the future is going to be like, right? There are people who actually were born during COVID. It's challenging. So I decided to go into the Srimad Bhagavatam and really get into the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. There's such wisdom there, time-tested wisdom. I decided I didn't want to live my life with, you can just make time. Because scientifically, being an engineer, I can tell you, there is no machine that can make time. There is no machine that can put you back in time. A moment lost can never be purchased back. And that's a very serious thing. You just cannot. One moment lost, one time spent on one reel, you cannot get it back. And yogis will explain to you your life is in breaths. It's pre-designed. My husband was showing me there's some person who's investing a lot on immortality. There's so many people who are trying to become immortal. But actually your life is in the number of breaths. So you breathe, you have like 50,000 breaths. On your 50,000th breath, finished. You can do what you want, you can be who you want, however powerful, however, whatever. And your number of breaths are over, finished. So time is limited. Why is this so important? I mean, we go through repeated birth and death. So what if you die? You'll be born again. It is important because you can get death in any life. Any life you can die. Dogs die, cats die, camels die, asses die, everybody dies. Human life is not meant to die like cats and dogs. Human life, you can die like a yogi, like a person. You can actually break through the cycle of birth and death, especially the story of Bhishma Dev is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's completely meditating on the Supreme, completely detaching from the material world, completely attaching yourself to spiritual reality. You can break out of this cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, again and again, again and again. You can stop that. Because in this life, in this body, you have the faculty to contemplate these. When you're a cat or a dog, you're just living your life for sense gratification. Because that's the body you have. You don't know any better. But human body, you know better. So that's the chance. So the loss is that if you lose this body dying like a cat or a dog, then we're coming back into the lower species of life. We're not coming back as human species. So again, we have to go through all the different species and then suffer birth and death again. What's the point of this suffering? Why put ourselves through this? What are we? We're like, sometimes we're so dull, we don't really think about these things, but really think about it. Like, why are you doing everything that you're doing? What are you, what do you hope to take with you? What do you hope to leave behind? And what does it matter what you leave behind? Do you remember anything about your last life? Or the life before that? Do you even remember your death? You don't. You don't remember anything. You can't go to a coach and say like, hey, last life you killed me and I want to report it. You can't do that. No, it's like, okay then, that's all right. So you don't, what is the purpose of going through all this? So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a very interesting story. It's really wise stories. This is a story of Prahlad. He was 5 years old, only 5 years old, and he's sitting with his schoolmates. They were in kindergarten, 5-year-old kids, and he's explaining to them, you know how little kids talk. But there's such wisdom in what he says. He starts to explain to them. I have some notes here from that, from what he says. He starts with saying, Pumsho Varsha Shatam Hi Ayush. Pumsho Varsha Shatam Hi Ayush. Tad Ardam Cha Ajitatmana. So he says, at best, Pumsho Varsha, a human being, has Shatam, 100 years of life. Everyone understands that? At best. Now understand that time is a relative thing. Like these demigods who live on higher planets, they live for much longer. But they live for 100 of their years. Their 1 year is equal, their 1 day is equal to 6 months in our planet, right? Time is relative. But even in their time, they'll live for 100 years. So that's like, a couple of 100,000 years for us. But they also have, an ant also lives for that, but the ant's 100 years is just like a day or two or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So time is relative. So he says, Pumsho Varsha Shatam Hi Ayush. Tad Ardham, half of it. He Ajitatmana, one who has not controlled their mind and senses. So who is not Jitat, who's not been able to win over their mind and senses, they waste half of their life. How? Do you think that's what happens? What do you think?
They lost half their lives.
Yeah, they waste half their lives. How?
They're not doing anything.
It explains. Oh, sorry, read the Sanskrit. Shete andham pratipastama. They're saying they're sleeping half the night. Half the night they are sleeping. Pratipastama. Tama means complete ignorance. So they're andha. They're like, andha means darkness. You've taken on darkness in the night. Nishphalam hi asauratram. He says in the night is nishphalam, means fruitless. Nishphalam means fruitless. Nishphalam hi asauratram. Shene andham praptistama. In the night you're sleeping, completely absorbed in darkness. And what is darkness defined as? forgetting your body and mind and your soul.